Today we are going to study brand L'Oreal Paris. This is the case study on brand L'Oreal Paris. So we'll start. For better listening, you can increase the speed also. Now, some of the key facts and figures of the brand L'Oreal Paris. First, cosmetic group worldwide. So, L'Oreal Paris is the first big brand worldwide, which is so big that it can operate in many countries. First century expertise of in cosmetics. So they were the pioneer in the cosmetic products. They have 23 international brands. So apart from the parent brand L'Oreal Paris, they also have some other brands. 19.5 billion euros of sales in 2010. So they have very big, large scale operations. They are present in 130 countries. They have 66,600 employees. They have 612 patents registered in 2010. So you can imagine that they are also focused on research and development and innovation. So on this slide, you can see the founders. Eugene Schuller is the key person who was the main founder of the L'Oreal Paris. When it comes to globalizing beauty, no one does it better than L'Oreal. The company was founded in Paris more than 100 years ago by a young chemist Eugene Schuller. So Eugene Schuller, you can see the from left hand side, the first picture is of Eugene Schuller, who sold his patented hair dyes to local hairdressers and salons. So initially, when he prepared these hair dyes, he was selling these hair dye, which was patented by him, to hairdressers and local salons. By the 1930s, Schuller had invented beauty products like suntan oil and first mass marketed shampoo. So Schuller was the person who come up with the innovative products like suntan oil and shampoo, and he was selling to local saloons and the hairdressers. Today, the company has evolved into the world's largest beauty and cosmetic company with distribution in 130 countries, 27 global brands, and more than $30 billion in sales. So you can see they are present in hair coloring, they are present in hair styling, they are present in fragrance, cosmetics, skincare, and so many products. They have factories in 38 countries, so they have total 38 factories. They are present in 130 countries, 66,000 plus employees, and they have 5.7 billion units. Then, if you see these investors in this company, so who all are the stockholders? 33% of stocks are owned by, or 33% shares of the company are owned by Bennett Coat family. Then 23% shares are owned by company Nestle. 21% shares are owned by international institutional investors. III. Then 9.3% shares are owned by French institutional investor. 5.7% shares are owned by individual shareholders. 1.9% by treasury stock, and 0.7% by their employees. Then if you see the financial data, so their net income was 30 billion euros in 2019, and you can see the growth from 2013 to 2019. They increased from 22 to 29 billion euros. Net income increased from 2.9% to 3.7 billion euros. Assets value has increased from 31 billion euros to 43 billion euros. Employees have increased from 77,000 to 87,000. So we were discussing that 66,000, but the recent figure is 87,000 employees they have. Top five cosmetic markets of the uh, top five cosmetic markets in the 2015 will be China, United States, Brazil, India, Japan, and China. Much of the company's early international expansion is credited to Sir Lindsay Owen Jones, uh, who transformed L'Oreal from the small French business into and international cosmetic phenomena with the strategic vision and precise brand management. So, Sir Lindsay Owen Jones was a person who was having very good vision, and that's why he was the CEO of the company. He was the CEO of the company, and he transformed the small French business into the international cosmetic conglomerate for the company. During his almost 20 years as a CEO and chairman, Owen Jones divested weak brands, invested heavily in the product innovation, acquired ethnically diverse brand, and expanded into markets no one had dreamed of, including China, South America, and former Soviet Union. So no one was thinking about this small business will grow to such a large scale. Sir Owen Jones, what he has done consolidation. He has used very wise strategies. He divested from the weak brands. He stopped manufacturing, stopped investing into the weak brands, and he invested heavily into the product innovation. He keep on launching the products. He started innovating into the products. He started understanding the requirements of the customers, and he started preparing new products. He acquired ethnically diverse brands. So this is the area, ethnically diverse brands is the area where people, lot of companies were not paying the attention. They were ignoring these ethnical brands. And this Owen Jones, he has a great vision. That's why he could able to understand that ethnical brands are very important. They have also expanded into markets. They are now present in China, India, and many other developing countries. His quest was to achieve diversity and meet the needs of men and women around the globe and make the beauty products available to as many people as possible. So he has two big visions that he wants to meet the needs of the men and women around the globe, and he wants second vision is make the beauty products available to as many people as possible. So he wanted to sell his products to all people around the globe. So he did not differentiated men and women. He did not differentiated between gender, and he tried to sell their product to as many countries as possible by understanding the culture, by understanding the expectation of the customer. By that, he could also able to achieve diversity in their product portfolio. And when your company has lot of product lines, if your when your company are present into different segments, when your company is present into different markets, the risk of recession, the risk of slowdown, the risk of losses are very minimum or less. Today, L'Oreal focuses on the five areas of the beauty expertise: skincare, hair care, makeup, hair coloring, and perfume. So these are the major areas in which they are present: skincare, hair care, makeup, hair coloring, and perfume. All their brands are categorized into these five segments. Each brand falls into four different groups. So five segments they have, but they also have four different groups in which they are categorizing their products. First category is consumer products or consumer group. 52% of the sales of their products are coming under the consumer products, which includes the mass marketed brands like Maybelline and high technology products sold at the competitive prices through mass market retailing chain. So first group, which is a major category, is consumer products. Second is L'Oreal Luxe. 27% of the sales include prestigious brands like Ralph Lauren perfume that are available only in premium stores, department stores, and specialty stores. So first group is the having the products which can be sold for all the products. Second group, they are selling through only their premium stores, exclusive stores. Third is professional products. 14% of the sales includes brands such as Redken, designed specifically for the professional hair salon. So for the professional, they have their third group, that is professional, for the professional products. Now fourth product groups is active cosmetic. 7% of the sales includes dermo cosmetic products sold at the pharmacies, drugstores, and medi spas. So this is more of a chemical products groups. active cosmetic groups. So they have differentiated four groups. First group is their normal group, normal products which they are selling through their retail stores. Second group is for the products which are sold through their exclusive outlets, premium stores, department stores, and specialty stores. Third group products are only for the professional people, and fourth is general chemicals, which is required at the pharmacies, drugstores, and medispas. L'Oreal believes precise target marketing, hitting the right audience with the right product. So L'Oreal is has very wide strategy. They are targeting right audience with the right product at the right place and with the right message, which is the important for the marketing and advertising. And it is the key uh, for the global success. It is important for the global success that you hit the right audience with the right product, with the right message, and at the right place. Owen Jones explained each brand is positioned on a very precise market segment which overlaps as little as possible with the others. So all their products are different from each other. All their products have a unique target group. All their products have unique people expectation. So they have their products uh, conspicuously defined for each category, for each target group, for each market, for each different needs and expectation of the customers. The company has built its portfolio primarily by purchasing local beauty companies all over the world. The company has built its portfolio primarily by the company has built its portfolio primarily by purchasing local beauty companies all over the world. So they are talking about the merger and acquisition, revamping them with the strategic direction and expanding the brand into new areas through its powerful marketing arm. So they have done merger and acquisition, and they have acquired products under the professional product, consumer products. They have acquired luxurious products. They have acquired aquatic cosmetic brands. They have acquired body shop products. So you can see the timeline in 1990, 1995, 2000, 2005, and 2010. Throughout these years, they have acquired a lot of brands, and each brand has unique market, unique customer segment. So this is their merger and acquisition strategy. They have also given they have also given one example that, for example, L'Oreal instantly become a player with the 20% market share in the growing ethnic hair care industry when it purchased and merged US companies Soft Sheen products in 1998 and Carlson products in 2000. So there were two companies which were selling ethnic brand in US. One was Soft Sheen and second was Carlson. Soft Sheen acquired in 1998 and Carlson acquired in 2000. So because of these companies having 20% market share in the US for the ethnic category, in the ethnic category, L'Oreal immediately got the 20% market share in ethnic category by acquiring these two brands. So this is the intelligent acquiring of the companies. L'Oreal believed the competition had overlooked this category, the ethnic category of cosmetics, because it was fragmented and misunderstood. So people generally relate fairness with the beauty, but it's not like that. Many different ethnic groups we have, they have different definition of the beauty. So by acquiring Softskin and Carlson, they come up with the one more brand that is Dark and Lovely. So you can study this acquisition, Softskin and Carlson acquisition of the uh, acquisition by the L'Oreal. If you want to study more in this uh, brand or in this topic on this topic, backed by the deep portfolio of the brands and products, Softskin Carlson is now the market leader in the ethnic hair care industry. L'Oreal also invests significant money and time in its 22 local research centers around the world. So they are also focusing on the research and development and innovation. The company spends 3.5% of the annual sales on the research and development, more than 1% percent point above the industry average, researching and innovating products that meet the local needs of each region. So they are acquiring patents, they are doing a lot of research and development, they are spending also more than industry average, which shows that they are hungry for the growth, they are hungry for the market share, they are hungry for the innovation, they are hungry for the product launch. So this is a company which is also acquiring brand, and this is a company which is also spending more on research and development. So they want their leadership status to be remain so for next few years or in the future. So you can see from 2001 to 2009, they increased their patents from 493 to 674. During the same time, they have also increased their research and development expenditure from 432 million euros to 609 million euros, and their research and development employees has also increased from 2743 to 3330. Understanding the unique beauty routines and the needs of the different cultures, climate, tradition, and psychologies is critical to L'Oreal's global success. So when L'Oreal is entering into the different markets, they are also studying what is the impact of tradition, what is the impact of geography, what is the impact of climate, what is the impact of psychology on the people, and they are understanding these things, and they are growing, they are understanding these things, that impact of the culture, climate, tradition, and psychology on the beauty, on the skin of the customers, or on the beauty of the customers, and that's how they are getting expertise in different markets. Hair and skin greatly differ from one part of the world to the another, so L'Oreal listens to and observes the consumers across the globe to gather a deep understanding of their beauty needs. So every culture is different, every geography is different, every ethnicity is different, every race, every region is different. So uh, if you are not understanding that into the details, you will have only superficial knowledge. So L'Oreal Paris is continuously understanding the impact of the culture, the geography, then tradition, the way of living, that is a lifestyle, on the health of the skin of the people. So they are also have eye for the details, they are micro, they are doing micro observation of the people, of their skins, of their impact of the factors on their skins. The L'Oreal scientists study consumers in a laboratory, bathrooms, and their own homes, sometimes achieving scientific beauty milestones. So they are doing research and development a lot. There is one more example. In Japan, for example, L'Oreal developed one Wonder Curl Mascara specially formulated to curl Asian women's eyelashes, which are usually short and straight. So this brand mascaras is only mostly used in Japanese culture. So they entered into the Japanese market, and they also studied this product, and they soon become got the expertise in this product. Within 3 months, Wonder Curl Mascara had become Japan's number one selling mascara, and young women lined up outside the store to buy it. L'Oreal continued to research the market and develop nail polish, blush, and other cosmetics aimed at this new Asian generation. L'Oreal believes its future lies in emerging areas such as Asia, Africa, Latin America, where it expects to find millions of new customers over the next few years. So L'Oreal has expertise in beauty products, in cosmetics, and they are also understanding the customers' culture, and they are also doing a lot of innovation. So they have a lot of customers all over the world. Mark Mansujian, L'Oreal's managing director, strategic marketing, explained, our projection for the 2020 is 50% to 60% of the sales will be coming from the emerging market. So this managing director of the L'Oreal Paris is saying that we will grow, and we will grow in emerging markets like developing countries like China and India, and we will our sales will come 50 to 60% from the developing countries like uh, India and China. As a result, new research centers have popped up in these countries. So they have new research centers in China and India and developing countries. And the company is working aggressively on the understanding these consumers' needs and developing beauty products to satisfy them. The company is working to acquire these markets. Well known of its 1973 advertising tagline, because I am worth it, L'Oreal is the leader in beauty products around the world. So well known for its 1973 advertising tagline, because I am worth it. L'Oreal is the leader in the beauty products around the world. So L'Oreal is not good at just products. L'Oreal is good at also in communication, in promotion, and in advertising. The company spends approximately 5 billion in advertising each year, making it the third largest advertiser. So they are also spending a lot on the advertising. As Gilles will, the head of the luxury products, explained, you have to be local as strong as the best locals, but backed by the international image and strategy. So you have to be, you are a global brand, but you also have to give equal importance for the local needs and expectation of the customers. And L'Oreal Paris is working hard to compete with the local brands. They are getting understanding of the local expectation, local needs, local wants and demands of the customers, and they are providing the customized products as per the local demand. Now there are questions like, review L'Oreal's brand portfolio. What role have local and global marketing, smart acquisition and research and development played in growing those brands? So L'Oreal Paris has some strategy like local and global marketing, acquisition and research and development. How these strategies are playing a role in the L'Oreal's brand portfolio. So L'Oreal Paris is precisely target marketing. They are not overlapping their target group. They are preparing products conspicuously for their target group. So they are trying to keep one brand different from the other brand. So they are launching a brand for specific target market. So they are not overlapping uh, products to other target markets. So that is the specialization which they have, or that is the competitive advantage they have, that their each product has separate target group or separate market. Then targeting dynamics markets. So maybe it is ethnic brand, maybe it is some other brand. So they have products for each and every different type of culture. They have products for every different type of market. So they are also specialized in different market. Niche marketing, they are also launching products in different market. Even the niche market, which is small market but making revenue, making profit, and the needs of the customers are completely different from the regular market. Like the like the in Japan, they have eyelashes, like we discussed mascara. I'll show you the slide. This mascaras is exclusively used by the Japanese people, more in number compared to other countries. There they got the expertise. There they work on that particular product. Similarly, in the US, there was a product which we discussed, ethnic brand they acquired, that I will show you. This brand, Softshin Carson. It is exclusive brand and it is a niche product. So mascara and soft skin Carson are the two example that shows that they are also focusing. They are also working on the niche market. They are not leaving that the niche market, that they are the big brands and they will not look into the small market. They are also equally focusing on the niche marketing, and they are also becoming a market leader in niche marketing. So they have solution for all types of needs and expectation. Then psychographic segmentation. So L'Oreal Paris has also understood the psychology of the customer. They have also understood the demography of the customers. They are also present in a lot of countries, like 130 countries they are present. So they are in a best position to understand or to segment the customers on the psychographic criteria. They are spending more than 3% on of the annual sales on research and development. So they are investing a lot in research and development. Second question is, who are the L'Oreal's greatest competitors, local, global, or both? Why? So Procter and Gamble, then Unilever, then Shiseido, and Avon are the major competitors of the L'Oreal Paris, and there are many local brands present in the market which are competing with the L'Oreal Paris. They may be in the organized sector, they may be in the unorganized sector. And why they are competing with the L'Oreal Paris? Like specifically talking about the Unilever, Procter and Gamble, Avon, and Shiseido, they have high market share in the markets they are present. They have a competitive pricing. The L'Oreal Paris has a premium pricing, while these companies like Unilever, Procter and Gamble, Avon, and Shiseido, they have reasonable pricing and affordable pricing. Then these competitors also have some loyal customer base. So it is very difficult uh, to break that loyalty. Third question is, what has been a key to successful product launches such as Maybelline Wonder Color in Japan? Innovation in marketing, 14 research centers around the world, and it caters to the local needs of each market. So why they got the success in the Japanese market? Because they have very good hold on the research and development. They have very good hold on in the innovation. They have state of the art 14 research center around the world, and there are a lot of scientists they are working in this area, and that's why they could able to crack the difficult market like Japanese market in terms of cosmetics. What is the next for the local L'Oreal on the global level? If you were the CEO, how would you sustain the company's leadership? Global, as the solution is global. That you are a global brand. You become a global brand. You become a number one brand globally, and also understand the local expectation and the local needs of the customers. Then only you can able to win the local customers. As Gilles Will said, you have to be local as strong as the best locals and backed by an international image and strategy. Next is joint ventures would increase the joint venture would increase the company's market share and profits. So there is a two strategy if you want to get the global leadership. First is local. You have to be big company, and also you have to introduce a product as per the expectation of the local market or local customers. And second is you have to form the joint ventures with the people with the companies which are strong competitors of yours. So if you cannot defeat your competitor, become a joint venture with them and do the business, increase your market share. So what is the revenue? Launching new innovative products on regular basis was a key for the L'Oreal Paris. And how much they are spending of the revenue in research and development? In 2010, L'Oreal Paris spent 3.5% of the sales on research and development. So 3.5%, that is maximum percentage they are dedicating towards research and development. That's why they are coming with the new product launches. 2.7% of the sales of the revenue 2.7% of the revenue or of the sales are invested in the research and development by the Procter and Gamble. 1.7% of the revenue was spent on the research and development in 2010 by the Revlon. Science of the Beauty in a jar, leading player in the beauty and skincare market. So these are the different brands of the L'Oreal Paris, and these brands makes the L'Oreal Paris number one player globally in cosmetic industry. So we'll discuss about the diversification strategies of the L'Oreal Paris. First is they have cosmetic division, they have then a body shop, and they have dermatology uh, division. So they are present in the three industry: cosmetic industry, They're into retail like Body Shop. They are also into the selling the products like chemicals in dermatology industry. So in a cosmetic industry, you must be knowing that they have hundreds of brand, and Body Shop, they have a chain of cosmetic stores specializing exclusively in hair and skin care products based on natural ingredients. They operated total of 2,550 stores in 62 countries worldwide by the end of 2009. So they also have products, they also have retail shops, and they are also selling chemicals in dermatology industry like Gladerma Laboratories, a joint venture with the Nestle. It boosts three of the top 25 best-selling drugs. It specializes in skin diseases and in skin infections. Aligning with the nature strategy, so they are also working to reduce the pollution. They are also working, making their products eco-friendly, environment friendly. So they are also working on the sustainable development. So they have a target to reduce 50% of their greenhouse gas emission by 2015. They will reduce 50% waste generated per finished products. They will reduce 50% water consumption per finished products by 2015. So these are the smart targets they kept and achieved. Biomethanization unit at Libramont plant. So they are using 100% green energy. Biomethanization unit at Libramont plant they are using, and they are getting 100% green energy from that unit. So how they are achieving sustainable development, how they are making their products eco-friendly, or how they are reducing the wastage, how they are reducing the pollution is they are reducing the impact on the nature. They are reducing the impact of the chemicals or the pollutions on the nature. They are responsibly sourcing their raw material. They are eco-designing their products. They are using only harmless ingredients. They are not using any harmful ingredients. Then addressing controversy on the ingredients. So if there are any confusion or there are any rumors which are not true, they are communicating properly and giving transparent information, protecting a global system. They are also protecting a global system by reducing the pollution, by paying attention towards the eco-friendly products and the waste generated by them. Now product strategy, they have a hair salons, they are selling the products in the mass market, they have departmental stores, they are also selling the perfumes, and they are also selling chemical for the pharmacies and dermatologists. So they are present in different segment. Then market mitigation, they are the first mover. So they want to enter into the market, they want to enter into the different cultures, they want to enter into the different segments, and they want to be get the first mover advantage. If the person who has the company who which has a first mover advantage will have more market share in that particular category. Marketing mitigation can be done by marketing different product with the different target to the different target market. They are also having clear positioning statement. That's why they are the market leader. Then just we discuss, they have a lot of patents. They have increased their patents. They have increased their expenditure on the research and development. They have also increased their research and development employees. That's why the risk is less because they are launching a lot of products as per the requirement of the customer. Then acquisition strategy, they can grow by two ways. Internal growth can be done by increasing resources, increasing assets, but the external growth can be done by diversification, that is merger and acquisition, and forming joint venture. So joint venture, merger and acquisition strategy, we will discuss that comes under external growth. So, what are the objectives of the merger and acquisition strategy of the L'Oreal Paris? As L'Oreal Paris has so many brands, reaching a critical size for exploiting economies of the scale. Reaching a critical size for exploiting economies of the scale. So they are selling their product in 130 countries. They are selling their products in almost all the major countries, and they are selling their products to all the ethnic group. They are selling their products to all the cultures, markets. So that's why when they are increasing their production, they are also reducing their expenditure for the manufacturing, because fixed cost is we have fixed cost and variable cost. So variable cost can be increased but fixed cost will remain same, and if you increase the production you will get more profit because fixed cost of the factory will remain the same and will be utilized optimally, satisfying the local needs. So when they have more products, when they will acquire more products, the local needs of the customers will be solved, because if they have more number of options to the customer will try to solve their need by choosing one of their products, creating portfolio of the distinctive but complementary products and the brands. So each brand is somehow complementing with other brands, so they can offer a big they can offer a set in which complementary products will also they can sell. So uh, there comes the uh, concept cross selling, so they can cross sell their products which are complementary to the main products of the requirement of the customers, quickly acquiring new resources and technologies. So by rather than developing and innovating the new technology and new resources, they can easily acquire. By acquiring they will immediately get the assets, they will immediately get the technologies, they will immediately get the expertise in that particular market, overcoming the entry barriers. So uh, when the L'Oreal Paris become a big brand, that will also be one barrier for the new entrants. So to compete against the major brand, major global player is not easy for the local players. Acquisition of the L'Oreal Paris, acquisition of the different brands by the L'Oreal Paris is here. The timeline you can see. The newest acquisition of Pacific Bioscience Laboratory. We'll discuss one acquisition. Date of the acquisition is 15 December 2011 and it is intermediated by L'Oreal USA, the franchisee. The product is Sonic skincare device. It is also patent. They also received the patent by acquiring this product. Then channels, dermatologists and prestige retails. There they can sell these products. Then main market is US, and reason behind acquisition of the this Pacific Bioscience Laboratories. Pacific Bioscience Laboratories is expertise in devices. So this brand is has expertise in devices. So L'Oreal Paris has acquired this brand, this Pacific Bioscience brand. They got the US market, and they are selling these products to dermatologists and in the prestige retail. So this is the one example. They by acquiring this brand, they got the expertise in the devices of the in the cosmetic industry. So if they want to develop, if they want to innovate, if they want to run do the test marketing and do the research, it would take a lot of time. By acquiring, their time and cost has decreased, and also they got the ready-made market. Now acquisition preparation, how they are doing acquisition, they are gathering information, they are preparing or gathering the information, then they are checking what is the similarities they have, the acquired the product which they are going to acquire have do they have similarity with the L'Oreal Paris and its characteristics. What is the objective behind acquiring that particular brand? If the same type of products are already available with the L'Oreal Paris, they will not going to acquire that brand. They want differentiation for the different to cater to the different customers, type of customers. Then final preparation is done and the decision is taken and implemented in the organization. Then characteristics of the companies which are going to be acquired. Operating in geographical markets, in L'Oreal's intends to reach leadership position. So if that brand, if particular brand is giving a leadership in particular market, at least in the particular segment, then they are going to acquire that product. Then having high technology and competence says related with L'Oreal products. So that product should have a high technology and competence in that particular market or somewhat related to L'Oreal products. The next is operating in different geographical markets from those in L'Oreal is already operating. If the brand is uh, already operating in that particular market, then if the L'Oreal Paris is also present in that market and they have one more brand which is competing with the uh, with uh, with the L'Oreal Paris in that particular market. So if by acquiring that product, the L'Oreal Paris will get advantage that their market share will increase. So there is one example like Body Shop was already a Body Shop can enter into the Indian market very easily. They're offering products that complete the L'Oreal portfolio brands or the products. So there is a one brand Roger Gallet that produce pharmacy fragrance. So by acquiring this brand, they also could able to add one more brand into their products. So this is all about the L'Oreal Paris. I hope you have understood the case study. And for such a good case study, keep watching this type of video.